The Blood Dragons were skilled and noble knights, proud to defend their lands and their people against any who would cause them harm. Many centuries later, and they still roam the old world, doomed to exist as undead knights, their bodies kept alive by the curse of the vampire. Their once shining armor is now encrusted with the blood and gore of countless battles, their monstrous steeds ragged and ruined from years of warfare, yet held together by potent necromantic spells. The Blood Knights are nigh indestructible, and their thirst for blood makes them ferocious and implacable. There are few tales to tell of their existence, for those who see them often die of fright, or worse, find themselves skewered on a wicked lance and hauled into the air before the fangs of the waiting undead. Abhorash was the founder of the Blood Dragon bloodline of vampires. He was the greatest warrior of Lamia and held honor above all else, so much so that when Neferata, the first vampire, tainted the nobles of her court with vampirism, Abhorash had to be tricked into drinking her blood. Initially, he refused to feed on the blood of his own people, and desperately fought to control his fury. Eventually, however, his thirst grew so great that he slaughtered a dozen men and women in one night of gore. It's said that he wept tears of blood for the poor souls he had murdered to save himself, and vowed to prey only on the desert-dwelling natives and not the people of Lamia. He taught his followers that skill in close combat and honor in battle were the only measures of greatness, and they would only drink from great fighters, saying that only the impure fed on the weak. Eventually, his travels took him to a great mountain wreathed with eternal flames. Ignoring the advice of all of his followers, Abhorash scaled the side of this fiery mountain. As he reached its summit, a red dragon of immense size emerged from the crater and descended upon the vampire lord. At the prospect of testing his martial abilities, Abhorash drew his sword and prepared to fight the great worm. The two fought the entire night, and in the end the vampire was victorious. As the dragon lashed in its death throes, Abhorash seized its throat with his fangs and drank deep. Intoxicated by the blood of the dragon, Abhorash cast the carcass of the broken creature down from the mountaintop. His search had ended. He no longer craved the lifeblood of men, and had become the ultimate warrior, a man with the strength of a vampire who had no need for blood. He dispatched his followers to go forth into the world, and charged them to master the arts of combat to such a skill that they could overcome their bloody thirst as he had. When they had succeeded, he would call them back to him, and they would go to war. It is said Abhorash still waits at that mountain, waiting for the day when his followers can finally rejoin him.